Okay, so we're going to break off here just a second, and we're going to go back to assembling some more parts onto the Hydra Hot. We got those in today, and that is our pump to replace our engine stir pump here. We were going to go ahead and stick the Hydra Hot back in there if the pump hadn't arrived, but this would definitely be easier with it out, so we're going to go ahead and get this done before we stick it back in the bay. Now, this is our old existing engine stir pump, which has failed. It does not work anymore. Now, it used to sit right here on the side, just like this. And you see the connection coming out the bottom used to go to this little curved hose right here, okay? So the way it works is your engine coolant comes from the engine. It goes in here. It goes through the heat exchanger. It comes out. It goes into the pump right here. And then it comes out of the pump and goes back to the engine, okay? So the new pump for the retrofit kit is universal. This pump can be used to replace your zone pumps. It can be used to replace your pump for your the stir pump for your boiler fluid, or it can be retrofitted to use it for a stir pump for your engine. So it comes with all different kinds of configurations of hoses and barbs and brackets and stuff like that. Now, we have a Hydra Hot system, which I know is very, very, very similar to the Aqua Hot system. But there are a couple of differences, like in the bracketry and stuff like that. This pump will work absolutely fine on the Hydra Hot system. But we're going to do it ever so slightly still different than what it says in the instructions. So, what we did was, we just cut a short section of 3/4 inch hose here. Because the new pump has 3/4 inch inlet and outlets. The old existing pump had 5/8 inlet and outlets. But we want to reuse our factory, our originally installed little curved hose here to help make it neat, nice and tidy. But that is 5/8. The kit comes with a 5/8 to 3/4 hose barb adapter. So what we're going to do is, we cut a short piece of hose, and we're going to adapt it down to the 5/8 so we can use our original hose right here. And then our outlet hose right here, well, it's already 3/4 inch, so that'll work just fine. All right, so we're going to get this thing stuck in here, and we're going to remount it kind of up here, kind of out of the way a little bit right over here, nice and tidy. We can still get to our hose connections on each of these fittings just fine like that. So let's play around with it a little bit. We'll see how it fits in there best. We'll get some holes drilled for the new, it just comes with push pins now. They're not actually going to be using rivets. So we'll get the correct hole drill. We can just pop it through the side of the case. It'll work just fine. It'll be just fine. And we might even make some kind of a little fancy bracket. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all works out. But this is the retrofit kit pump. Let's get it put in there. Okay, so after playing around with a few configurations of the bracket and stuff that came with the retrofit kit and everything like that, what we actually ended up doing was we took the original bracket off the pump and we just modified it to fit onto the new pump. That way we can utilize the existing holes that are still here, and with using the 3/4 5/8 barb there, we can still utilize our original curved hose here so that everything will just slip right back down into this little cubby hole right there where it was. Now the only thing we're going to have to do that's a little bit different, since we added the adapter in there, rather than use all 4 of the original rivet holes, we're just going to move it up one set of holes. So in theory, the bottom set of holes will now become the top. So we'll actually raise it up just a little bit. So we're going to get this thing mounted back up in here just like so, and then it will sit right back just like that. And there's easy access to both our ports right here. We won't have any interference. There's no interference with the plug adapter here that goes onto it. We can adapt it right into our original wiring harness. Everything is going to be just fine and dandy, just like it came in there. So we're going to go ahead and add some rivets back in here, get this popped on there, and be well on our way to getting this thing back into its home. So that's what it comes out to look like. All snapped back on there with rivets, just like it came. Of course, we have our adapter in here for 3/4 to 5/8 for the 3/4 retrofit pump. Our original hose that went to here was 3/4 anyways. It's all going to work out great. We got our ends put on our wiring harness here. The new pump actually has a plug instead of just the wires being made into the pump. Got that snapped on there. The hose is all clamped up. We've got it riveted on from the outside here, right there. I'm probably going to go ahead and just stick some rivets in the holes just because I don't like them looking like that. But anyways, that is it. One retrofit pump put in there for the engine preheat. This thing is completely back together. All we got to do now is get the rest of this cleaned up. We'll get this dude back in there and we'll start making up all our connections. And hopefully, my nemesis will be over and done with for quite a long time, as absolutely everything on here now is new or has been rebuilt or replaced. There it is. Let's get it back in there. Well, there it is, back home, nice and snug. Again, sorry for no action shots of wrestling that thing up in there, but it is heavy and it's hard to hold the camera and try to do that at the same time. But all I did to get it back up in there was I just simply took my floor jack, I put a board on it, I drug the thing up onto it, I jacked it up, and I just slid it right on in there. Not too bad, but it is very heavy. But now comes the task of we'll start getting all the wiring reconnected, the fuel lines reconnected. I've started a little bit over here already of getting the hoses and such forth connected here. We've got our zone hoses hooked up right there already. Zone return here hooked up already. What else in here? We've left the two top hoses loose for right now, just so that they're we can push them back out of the way to get to this, because this is a very tight mess in here once you start getting all these hoses and everything in here. So what we're going to work on now is I'm going to start getting the engine coolant hoses hooked back up. I'm sorry, I said zone hose, but this is actually engine coolant. I've already got this one hooked up. Remember, originally our stir pump was 5/8, so I've got to get this adapter out of the 3/4 hose, because our hose will now connect directly to the pump. No adapter needed. So I got to get that out, get that hooked up before I let go of these, because if I let go of this right now, coolant will just literally shoot out of the pump. After that, we will go ahead and get our top hoses hooked up. And then remember, I had looped this one originally thinking I wouldn't have this back in here, but anyway, we'll get this side taken apart. We'll go ahead and get our cold water connection hooked back up here on the top. I have the other hose laying up there in the front. We will reconnect it to our hot water line, and then it will connect to that one right there coming out of the mixer valve. And as far as this side goes, that is it. Once we get all those hoses hooked up, we'll swap over here, like I say, electrical and fuel lines and stuff like that. And then, oh goodness, we will see what happens. Initially, I'm going to refill it with just clean water again. There's no reason to waste the coolant, just to make sure everything's going to be good. We'll get it all running, make sure all our pumps work, and then that'll be basically one last flushing of all the heat exchangers and everything. Then we'll drain all that clear water out, and we will put some Hydra Hot fluid back in there with distilled water, and hopefully the nightmare will be over. We'll get our access panel covered back up here. Everything will be nice and sparkly, brand new. So let's get the rest of it done. Wish us luck. All right, so there it is, all the hoses hooked up. There is really no right way of routing all of that mess in there to get everything connected back again. So it's just, you got to kind of just lay them in there and start seeing how they fit. I had to take the zone returns off a couple of times to reroute some different hoses through there for the engine preheater and stuff like that. So anyway, there's really no real way. It's just start laying them in there however they kind of fit the best, whether everything's not in a bind and a rat's nest. That's just the way to do it. So last but not least is our coolant return bottle. It just goes back in here, mounts goes back in there, mounts to the wall. Don't forget to run your hose back over here and connect it back up. And then there's a little hose right here that goes out through the bottom of the coach, and it will connect right back to there. So we'll just mount that back to the wall. And then the only thing left after that is get the control board plugged back in, get the fuel lines hooked back up, and fill it up and see if it works. Okay, there it is, all put back together. We got our electrical hooked back up, back into our main box here for the 120 volt house current side. We still have some tidying up to do with the wiring and stuff, but I left it all out right now so that we can see everything in there to make sure we don't have no additional leaks or anything like for fittings or anything like that. And then I've got to get some more of these little stick-on cable ties. The wiring harness actually stuck up here and went across like that. And then we'll get the cover back on it and everything like that. But everything is hooked back up. Our low tank level just went off, so we should be almost full. So we're gonna stop filling that for just a second. And again, I'm just gonna use clean, fresh water. I know, this is just to test it though, just to make sure everything works, make sure the tank is holding right. That boiler fluid is expensive, there's no reason to waste it. So we're just gonna use some fresh water for the initial fill, get all the zone pumps back working, test the engine heat pump, make sure our circulation pump is working and everything like that. Again, make sure we have no leaks, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything is good. We can get all the covers put back on it. For now, what I've done is, so I had to order all the exhaust pipe and everything, so I haven't got that in just yet. So I've just stuck just a long pipe nipple in there now, just to get it out of the floor. It's 1.5 inch pipe. So I got some elbows coming and then some exhaust pipe. We'll build a new pipe and put the pretty chrome tip back on there and everything like that. But that is it. Like I say, if you want to tackle that ever to do it, it's a lot of work. The thing is very heavy. It's not that it can't be done. It took me a couple of days to do the whole thing. Mr. Carrillo could probably do this in a few hours. But that's all. I don't know what else to say. We're gonna finish getting it filled up. We're gonna prime all the pumps, make sure everything is full, and then we'll kick the system back on and we'll let it start heating up. All right, so we got the whole system on. It finally filled up all the zones, so we just got a low tank level. You can see we got all the pumps on, so we're filling up all the heat exchangers and stuff again like that. So anyway, we'll just get it topped off with some water here, and it'll kick back on here. So let me grab some water right quick, and we'll get it filled right back up. We just topped it off with a little bit of water. The burner kicked right back on, right back in business. We may have to add a little bit, for a while until we get all the pumps and everything circulating. But we got, both pumps are running. Our engine preheat pump that we modified right here, back up in there in that hole, it's running, circulating coolant through the engine, through the burner to heat it up. So there we go. Everything is working again. No leaks. That is absolutely amazing. No drippy drippies out from underneath it. Hopefully no more adding Hydra Hot fluid. So there it is, folks. Another project done. We'll get the cover put back on it. We'll get the exhaust put back on it. And then we'll go on a little road trip, have a little rest and relaxation, not have to worry about that thing anymore for a while. And then right back home, and as soon as we get back home, it's off to the body shop to finally get all of the damage done or repaired that was done from the storm back in April. For a real time, today is June the 14th, just so you know where we're at. And there you go. If you want to tackle it, go ahead. If you don't, contact John Carrillo. I will put all his contact information in this video several times. He is amazing. He does great work. He has everything that you need to fix one of these, and he is full of knowledge and willing to share it with you. Thank you, John Carrillo. Thank you guys for watching. That's it. Hydra Hot Dilemmas over and done with, hopefully. See you on the next one.